Hello, how are you all? Okay, so I posted my next journal on my Facebook page, sort of the progress, and like a bit of an umpter, I forgot to record the process of it. So I'm kind of having to do a bit of a Blue Peter day today. I don't really want to show you because I've actually painted what I want, but I want to show you how I've actually achieved it before I show you the original, if that makes sense. So I've decided to kind of go for like a bit of a Gothic-y kind of feel. And I'm kind of hoping it's going to work, but we'll wait and see. So I want to do a journal, as I've said, and the journal's going to be just an ordinary, you know, I've covered the journal. This is just, it's actually an old curtain. It's like a grey linen, I think I actually got it from IKEA a few years ago, because I used to have it in the office when I used to have curtains. So, you know, us crafters, we don't get rid of fabric. So I've covered the journal, I've done all that, just an ordinary, you know, my usual. So I don't need to show that process because you've seen how, you know, I cover that. So, oh, it's the fabric now. The front, right. Because it's going to be kind of gothic here, I've decided that I'm going to do a window. Now, because I want it to kind of look a little bit on the 3D side, what I'm going to do is I'm just using my grey board that I use for my journal covers, because it's nice and thick, and I'm going to do some modelling paste on the top as well. So what I do is roughly sort of judge where the centre of this is. Now this is the bit that's a little bit tricky and a little bit time consuming, so unfortunately there's no way of me speeding this bit up because I do want to show how I do it. So I think that's about the centre. It doesn't have to be exact, you know, it just needs to be roughly, because I'm going to trim around this anyway because I don't want it to be the exact size of the front of my journal. So all I do is I get my pencil and I just draw round the actual frame. Try not to move it because it can move just slightly. Sorry if you can hear a bit of a noise in the background. I've got my fan on because it's absolutely sweltering because I've got the window shut because it's so noisy out there today, even though it's raining a little bit, so we could have thunder, who knows. I'm not really bothered at this point. Right, what am I doing? Oh, my bracelet's rattling, I'm sorry. I tried to sort of tie this up so it doesn't make a lot of noise, but it moved. Okay, I forgot to do the next bit. Because I actually want to cut a hole in this, what I actually do is I draw around the outside to give me the outside measurement, and then I just sort of roughly go in. I don't, you know, don't have to go around the whole thing, just a little bit every now and then. Okay, that then gives me, I don't know if you can see, hopefully you can, so I've got the outside marking and then I've got the inside. Now because I want a little bit of a ledge for when that sits on, I'm going to actually cut in between. Now this is where it gets a little bit on the tricky side because, sorry, this is really annoying me, so it must be annoying you as well. Because I need to cut it with a knife, and this is actually quite a thick board, it doesn't cut very easily when you're actually doing it on the angle. So the best thing I can do is you're just going to have to persevere. Because I've tried using just a craft knife. The original one I done was the craft knife and it took me ages, so I've sort of come to my standing knife and tried to use that. So all I do is I just roughly judge where the centre is. Doesn't have to be exact, you're not going to see this, so it's just for the guidance really when I'm cutting. Okay, right, now what I actually might do, I might actually just try scoring it a little bit with my craft knife, see if that works. We'll try. Okay, and please be careful and don't slip. I mean, if you've got scissors that can cut through this really easy, by all means, but I don't seem to have scissors that will just cut through it, so I thought this is the easiest thing. You're not locked. Okay, you just need a bit of pressure. I must admit, the first time I'd done this, my arm was absolutely killing me. It was so heavy, it was aching. Okay, just be careful. And this definitely is not meant for children. Okay. As you can see, it doesn't really score it coming through yet. But if I can just do an outline with this, because you do have a little bit more control with the craft knife than you do with the Stanley knife. Well, I think so, because of how you hold it, because you can hold it, well, I can hold it like a pen. That one I can't. Okay, so just bring it down. Okay. Point. Right, yeah, it's not really marked it. So what we'll do, we'll go through with the Stanley knife. I mean, you can see how much pressure I sort of put on that. You get a numb finger. Right, let's just hopefully this is going to cut through. Yeah, see, it's a lot better than when I tried it earlier, because I've actually got one that I've just done because I want to show you how I paint it. So I needed the modelling paste to dry. So basically I'm going to have the equivalent of about 3 of these journals, well, the fronts of them anyway, but I may use the fronts, that's not what I've gone through. I may use the fronts for another project, but that's fine. It's not a problem. I quite like how it's turned out at the minute, but I've got a little bit of a dilemma with the next bit, and I'll sort of go through that in a minute. Right, because I've cut through some of it, I'm going to go back to this again. Just see, this is what I mean, it's so time consuming. Well, maybe it's just me, how I'm doing it, but there's not really an easier way. And it kind of gives you a neater edge, I find. I know, because like scissors won't get into certain bits. I'm not too bothered if it's rough, because with it being sort of like Gothic-y and that sort of thing, I don't want it to be too perfect. You know, I want it sort of oldie worlder. You know, like you get the church buildings. Okay, we're getting that. Just pop that. Just do it on the back. It's just the corner bits. There you go. Right. So there we have it. If you've got any bits that is a little bit raggedy, all I do is just get my craft knife and I just sort of cut into it. It doesn't need to be perfect, like I say, because when you put the modelling paste on, it's going to sort of cover up bits anyway. Okay, so brush that to the side. So that's where we are with that. Oh, excuse me, I've got an itchy nose, sorry. I think it's the dust that comes off of this. Okay, now what I want to do is, obviously I want to trim this down. So this is basically how it's going to look. So brought the window in, and if anybody is looking for this, it's a, what is it? It's a, I think it's a die. Yeah, it's a big die, I think. I do actually sell these in my shop as well. But I've never actually used them myself, and I thought they it made it look quite good. So that's kind of giving you an idea of how that's going to look. Right, I want to trim, like I say, this down either side. So put that back on. Now I'll get my ruler, and it's about an inch. Let me just. So I don't do it this side first because it is not quite. It's either not quite central or it's just because I've not positioned it quite right. But it's not a straight inch if you get. Does that make sense? It's hard to explain it. You know what I'm like with measurements, but all I do, I'll just do it this way, is I mark an inch, and I just put a little pencil line there, and then I go to about there before it gets on the arch, and I do the same there. And we go from this side and mark an inch. I only put a couple of marks in. Okay, so about there. It's an inch again. Now the top and the bottom, I just need to measure the one I've done from the top. It's about 3.5. Yeah, it's about 3.5 centimetres on either side. So turn that around. 1 minute I'm in inches, next minute I'm in centimetres, but the centimetres work better. So that was fine at the top. And then we just need to do, oops, we need to do the bottom. Like I said, I mean, it really doesn't have to be perfect, and this is just an idea if you wanted to do similar to what I'm doing. I mean, it doesn't have to be a window, it could be absolutely anything that you want to put in. It could be a door, you know, you can make it a doorway. You know, the nice Gothic doors, them really nice heavy doors that you get, which you also actually get on churches as well, thinking about it. All the old buildings, I love the old buildings. Okay, so I'm just going to line that up with my board. It's just slightly off. Okay, and get my Stanley knife again. Oh, my glasses keep falling down. Okay, I think I'm just slightly off. Okay, I'm just going to do it. It doesn't matter if it's only like a little tiny bit off. Okay, and then just run the knife down that. And the thing is, the reason I'm doing this now is because once it's got the modelling paste on it, I don't want to be cutting it because it could crack it. So I'm trying to get these bits done before. So let's get that level. Yeah, you can. Sorry about the glare on the ruler. It's not, I can't really do much. It's where the lights are positioned and the fact that obviously it's a metal ruler, so it kind of picks it up. Let's take my level. Okay, that's about right. Right. The top we didn't mark, and then we've got the bottom. No, we've got the side even. I know what I meant. Okay, I thought this is just a bit something different, a bit of mixed media as well, because I've got with the modelling paste and, you know, it's still a journal, but it's a different one, and hopefully my idea for the rest of the journal itself is going to work. It's, like I say, it's just the cover, but I'll show you that near the end on the original one that I was doing. Yeah, that'll be fine. Like I said, as long as it's not miles off, it doesn't make much difference. Okay, let's have a look how that looks. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So that would then go, like I say, on to that. Right, now comes, I say the fun part, it is and it's not. It's messy part. So I hadn't really got a brick. Well, it's not so much a brick, it's more a that's, you know, the stone trellis sort of thing. You know, like you get the walls, but it's the stones, that sort of thing. Right, so I was having a look through my stencils, and the only one I've got is this one that's kind of close to what I actually wanted, and I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but it does. It's a Tim Holtz one. Don't ask me what the name is, I've got no idea. But it's the one with the, oh, it's, I think that's the number, it's a TM, I don't know if you can see it, it's a TM, THMM2. Whether that means anything or not, I'm not sure. Wait, I'm just having a look on the others, and if there's different numbers, it may be that. Yeah, it's that one. So if you wanted to do this, it's the THMM2. Right, now, I'm using the Galleria modelling paste. You can use absolutely whatever modelling paste you want. So, got a bit of ink or something on that. Right, now, I think I've got paint and bits, so that's not very good. Right, all I do, because it's at the bottom, it's not a full stencil, this is where it gets, like I say, this is where it gets a bit messy, and I've got me a bit of kitchen roll so I can scrub the paste off as I'm going. Okay, now what I've done is I sort of judge it where I sort of go over just slightly, so it sort of goes at an angle. Okay, and then I literally just slap it on. There's no other way of describing this. You literally just slap it on. Try not to come over the edge too much, this side, because obviously you don't want to do it, but there will be a bit of overlapping. And once again, I don't want it to be sort of a perfect finish. You know, we're going to have thicker bits, we're going to have bumpy bits, that's fine, because I want it to be an old wall sort of thing, you know, an old building. So just do that like that. Okay. Right, and then all I'll do is I'll just lift that off. And see what it kind of gives you the idea of what I mean. The only thing I don't like about this part of the stencil, it's so delicate. I think one bit's already actually broke, but that's the joys of this. Right, so all I do is I just scrape a little bit. I don't want it to be too smooth. Just lift those up. Okay, now we're going to come around. Excuse me. I'm going to come around again. Right, like I said, this is where it gets interesting. So all I do is I just, it doesn't matter if that sort of leans on that a bit, that's fine, it's not a problem. Just watch you don't touch the other bit with your hand, that is the other problem. Okay, and then I just, I mean, I said that I wanted to use my stencils, so this is kind of giving me a chance to do that. And the other thing about the modelling paste, it doesn't actually take that long to dry. I think my original one, I think I did actually leave it a day because I was doing other things, but the one that I will show you that I actually done before this video, because I want, like I say, I want to show you how I paint it. Yeah, I've not long done it. I think within about half an hour, something like that, 3/4 of an hour at the most. Okay, right. I'm not too bothered if it's got thin, you know, sort of thin bits, because that's fine. Okay, and then lift that up and see it's got like a thickish bit there. That is not a problem. I'm really, really not bothered about that at all. Let's scrape some of that off of that. Right. There's probably an easy way of doing this, but this is my version and I'm going with it. Or I'm running with it, I should say. Right, now, yeah, I'll do that side. Let's just wipe this off. Okay. So, we'll do about there. That should be okay. Yeah, you can see how I just thought, I wonder if you can see after doing all this. Okay. Now, hopefully, actually once I've done this, what I'll do before I do the painting, we'll actually do the window bit itself. And for that I just used some embossing powder, not paste. Don't listen to me, it's not paste, it's powder. Okay, and I want to keep sort of like rough bits sort of near the edges if I can. It's just to give it character more than anything. I'll just write that. Okay, stay still. Right, should we go for this way, I think. It's just positioning it, and like I said, it doesn't matter if it overlaps. I'm not too bothered about that because I just want the texture. I mean, if you've got, obviously if you've got a stencil that is quite, you know, an 8x8 or even a 6x6, if it's continuous, you're okay. But I'm working with what I have, so if I can do it with this, you definitely can do it with anything like that. Or I'm trying to think what else you could use. You could even stick it on if you've got a die and you can cut out like bits of card even. That's a good way of doing it. See, that's the bit that's broke. It's so delicate when you wipe it. That's not helpful. Okay. Yeah, it's just that I think the best thing for me to do with that one is just cut that bit off, because it won't let you spread the modelling paste. It just picks it up. Okay. And I actually like how you get the thicker bits. I don't know if you can sort of see. So get this off. Right. I think before I do the next bit I want to cut that bit off because it's just going to get in the way. Where is it? Just there. So there is sort of small bits on the stencil anyway, so that's fine. I'm happy with that. Just thinking what's the best way to do this. I think I'll do it in 2 bits actually, because I'm not going to get it all where I want it to go. So. Oops, a bit too much on that bit, never mind. Okay. I'd rather put too much on and then I can just scrape it off. sometimes if you don't put enough on and you're trying to fill the bits, it ends up picking it up and it just doesn't work very well. So right, that's that bit. And then this bit, this would definitely be overlapped. But that is not a problem. So what I do is I usually just sort of like bend the stencil a little bit and just, yeah, just sort of plop it on. Okay, and then just fill what you can. Like that. Okay, and I'm not too bothered either if there's bits like this that sort of, you can see obviously I've pressed down on it, just sort of dab it, and it doesn't matter if it's a bit rough, because I don't, you know, that's the whole idea. It's a worn building. The bricks are worn, or the stones are worn I should say. Okay, so that is the actual, that's the finished front of the journal basically. Well, it's not finished, but that's the base of the journal I should say. So just put that on. Quickly get a wet wipe before this dries on my palette. On my knife, because I need that for my paint. Okay. You can tell I've used it for paint and I forgot to wipe it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit that over to one side, pop that over here. Let's see on me. No, it's not going to fit on there. Okay, I've got it balancing. That will be fine. Quickly wipe this. Right, now I did say, because my other one's nearly dry, and I've actually got it sitting in front of the fan as well, so that's helping. Because I thought I need to get this. You know, I want to get this video done because I want to get on and do the rest of the journal itself, and obviously I can't do that unless I do the other bits that I need to do. So anyway, don't I rattle? I really do rattle. So what we're going to do is I need to get a bit of paper, so just bear with me for a sec. Because what I want to do, yeah, I'm going to half this I think. Yeah, let me half the paper. It should still work. Well, not half actually, I'll do it just a bit less and you'll see why in a minute. Because, oh, excuse me. Right, I actually want to do the embossing. So I need my thing there, and I need, yeah, this one. Okay. Now for this, I'm using the Wow Seth Apter one. It's the Etch Platinum, so I don't know if you can see what it's like, but this one I thought looked really well. You know, it goes with it. This is really sort of well loved. Now, because I'm using the grey board again, this is the ones I use for my chipboard shapes and stuff. This drinks it, so you really have to press and make sure that you do give it a good coating. The first one I did, it worked. It didn't miss much. You know, that's one thing about it. It really didn't miss much, but there was bits that I thought, I think that needed a little bit more on that. And I don't want to give it 2 coats because it's a textured embossing powder as well, and I don't want to make it too thick. So I thought if I do it just the one, but just really coat it with the embossing, you know, the ink pad, stamp pad, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Right. Okay, that should give it enough. Now, the reason I wanted another bit of card is because I need it for the embossing paper. So what I'll do is give it a quick shake. I mean, this is, I love this. I really do like the colours of this. So hopefully I've covered it enough and the heat's not drying it out too much. I'll give it a good coating. Okay. Right, oh, missed a bit there. Now, I'm going to warn you, obviously I'm going to need to do my heat gun. So, I need to just move the thing that I've just done. I need also my tweezers. Okay. Right, lift this up. Now this is the bit that is quite delicate because you don't really want to spill too much of this. I don't tap it too hard either, if I can help it. So I'm just going to gently lie that down. Doesn't matter if there's any excess that does fall off. But I don't want to tap it because I want it to be kind of thick. So let's get this back in the pot. Right. Just a little bit there, but it doesn't matter. Just a little bit. Right, now I've got to watch what I'm doing because I've got my glass mat and I haven't really got anything else I can put it on. Oh, have I? Wait, just thinking about that. I don't know if I have. I have. I've got. I really should have prepared this one. I've actually got my marble that I use for when I'm doing my wax seals. Okay, let's bring this back over because I can actually put the heat on it. Okay, so I'll apologise now. I'll try and move that out of the way for the light. That's better. Right, I'll apologise now for the noise, but it's not that bad with this gun, so it's not too bad. So I'll just heat it a little bit. Okay, hold it with my tweezers just so it doesn't go anywhere, and then I literally just hold it over. Once it starts heating, it really doesn't take long to actually work, and I'll hold it up in a sec to let you see if you can't see. You might be able to see it beginning to sort of take effect. But I love this embossing powder. I think it came in as a set of 3. This one, it looks more of a silver when it's in just powder form, but then when you heat it, it's kind of got a gold colour, but there is a gold one. But I love the texture. It's really, really sort of grungy and yeah, just my sort of thing. But I don't use it very often. So this is another thing that I don't really want to do off the camera because I want to show you basically step by step of everything that's going into doing this, you know, making the front of the journal. Right, what about there? Just a bit one more. Okay, let's set that down. So now, let me just, if you can see, how does that look? I think that looks really effective. And like I say, it's got a texture as well. It's kind of got the rough sort of texture to it. So, that's what I do for that. So let me move that out of the way now. Right, now, I said to you that I want to show you how I painted the frame thingy-bob. So I'll move me out of the way, and I will bring in now my plate and my paints, my mat to paint my things on. Now, I hadn't got any grey. Well, actually, I thought I did. I had some of this Folk Art Home Decor chalk in, what was the colour? It was a grey. Parisian grey, that's it. But for some reason, now I only use this at Christmas, but it seems to have set, I think. So I need to get a stirrer or something just to see, because it just doesn't come out the bottle. It doesn't want to know. And yeah, I find it really weird because it sits where all my other paints are. So I'm just a bit investigating with that one. So all I'm doing is just using some black gesso. Hopefully I haven't put too much out, because yesterday when I done it, I put too much out and I had quite a bit of wastage, but I'll show you what I've done with that. Never waste anything. So get me white. Oops, I didn't want to put the black in there, but never mind. Didn't realise I touched it. Ooh. So now my white gesso has now got black, so it turned into grey. Right, I might have too much white out, but that's fine. So this is just the big tub of white gesso that I got from the works about 2-3 years ago, and it was £5 then. I don't know if it's still £5 if you can still get it or not, but it works fine for me. It's, you know, out of all the gessos. So I now mix it, but I don't want to mix it too much, because the way I think I actually need more white, because the way that I'm doing it, I'm going to sponge it on, and to be quite honest, I kind of want, let's get a darker grey there. Okay, that might be okay. I don't mind if it's a bit different to the other ones. So let's hope that this is now dry. Yeah, that's dry. So this is the one that I done before I started filming. So it's all nice and dry now, and as you can see, I've got thick bits. Yeah, I don't mind. That's, you know, I quite like the texture of that. Okay. Now all I'm using is a natural sponge, and I actually picked this up, I think it was actually from Home Bargains about 4 years ago, and I just cut bits off of it, and it's a really, and then once I'm done I wash it out anyway, so it's a really nice, it was cheap as well. I think it was like 79p, and it was quite a big sponge, and it's nice to work with. I don't usually like sponge, I have a bit of a thing about sponge, but this I do quite like. So then all I do is I literally just dab it on, and what you end up doing is you don't have the paint going into the cracks so much, so you just sort of dab it on. It doesn't, I mean, if it does, that's fine, it's no, you know, it's no problem with that at all, but it also gives you texture. It doesn't give you a rough, sorry, it doesn't give you a smooth texture. And I know this looks really boring, you think, oh, what are you doing? But I actually add some darker bits in a minute. This is like just like the base coat. And I don't use a heat gun on this, I leave it to dry naturally, because it can make the modelling paste bubble if, you know, you overheat it. Some projects looks really good when you do that, but others don't, and I don't really want this one to be one of them. Okay, So that's kind of gave it the base coat. So what I'm going to do now is I've got some odd bits of black, and then I just bring it in and just sort of make sort of dark, just a few dark areas, not too many and not too solid of black, if that kind of makes sense, because I don't want it to be all, you know, sort of black, but I'm trying to make it sort of old, you know, old looking. Let's do a little bit of, not too much. Okay, now I don't know if you can see how that's kind of looking, and it's kind of gave it, well, I think it a little bit of a darkish colour. Let's bring a little bit more in this bit there. Okay, and then on the edges all I do is I just get the, it doesn't matter if it's dark or light. In fact, I think I've done it, if I remember rightly, I've done it with a light one first. So it just covers the edges. And then this also gives it a rough edge, because I don't want a smooth edge. I want it to look like a wall. And I must admit, I've really enjoyed this because I like getting a little bit messy with paint. It's been a long time, so I'm kind of enjoying the mess I'm getting in it. Okay, and then same for just inside the windows. And like I say, I will be putting a little bit of the dark as well. This is, I think this is just slightly darker than I made the first one, but that's okay because they don't need to be the same. And I'm not going to paint anything on the back because you're not going to see the back because it will be glued down to the journal itself. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is get a bit of the black and just dab, oops, just dab a little bit on the top. It sort of gives it the border as well. Okay. Now you won't see much around the window bit because obviously you've got, I'll have the frame going in that, but it might just give the odd sort of little bit. Oh, I don't want that too much there. Naughty. Okay, and a little bit at the bottom. And because it's gesso, it dries pretty quick as well, so that is one good thing. Okay, now I am completely covered in grey. So I hope that kind of gives you an idea of how it's going to look, and I'm happy with that. I'm pleased with how that's come out. Okay, so it's just a little bit of blobby bit there. Don't mind if it's a little bit blobby. Right, I need a wet wipe. Oh, get a cloth, something. Okay, now I've got excess paint again. So I'll use my white gesso pot to just sit that on for a minute while it just quickly dries. And this is also one way of not wasting your paint. So all I do is I just get this and dab it on to your paper. So it gives you basically a mess. You know, there's no two ways about it. And this is pretty much what I've done yesterday, only I had a lot more paint left. A lot. I filled 2 of these sheets. And this is just the scrap card that I don't like. So I'm putting it to use. because I can use these for, I don't know, they could actually be used, because the other ones are filled up a little bit better and I'm not sort of spending too much time in this one. Yeah, you could actually use them. I might do some journal covers actually, because the texture, because I'm doing this, they're also textured. So I might, yeah, that could be a good idea. Let's give some black down there, a bit of black there. This is just, you know, having a play basically now. So I thought, why not? Right, I think that'll do. And then all I do is I just leave that to dry, and it takes however long, but it doesn't, you don't waste your paint. A bit like doing a, yeah, I can't think of the name. Yeah, I can't think of the name, but I'm sure you know what I mean. Right, my hands are still dirty, but that's fine. Okay, so that will go over to the side, and these are the two that I've done yesterday. You know, so I can add splatters to them, but I don't know if you can see, but they are actually textured. And you can, I'm quite pleased with them. They look a bit like a galaxy. I could add a few bits, but that's going off on another whole new story. Right, so where did we get to? So we've painted that now. So the one I originally done that I didn't realise, well, I completely forgot to record, was this one. So this is the one I done yesterday, and it's all dry and finished and everything now. And the window itself, don't worry, oh, that's another thing, don't worry if it warps a little bit. Sometimes it just bends, but you can just bend it back, and like I say, it's a bit messy on the back, but you're not going to see that. So the front, well, the window, what I've actually done is I've put some acetate on the back, and then, well, actually before I've put the acetate on, I've just gone round the inside. So with this one, because you can see the grey inside, I didn't want to see that, so all I've done is I actually got, I do believe it was a pro marker that I've got, and I literally just go round the edge with the pen like that. And you'll see, oops, you'll see it just sort of finishes it off. So I'm not going to sort of sit and do all that. Oops, no, I need you to stand there. Don't knock you down. Okay, so when that's all been sort of all done and I put the acetate on, so it gives you a nice window, that will then sit on like this. Now the thing is, this now looks gold next to this, but when you first do it, it looks silver. So it's kind of, yeah, it's a bit of a catch-22 with this one, but do you know what? I think that looks flipping lovely, if I do say so myself. Right, now, when it goes onto my journal, this is the bit of the issue that I have. So it will go like this, okay, and that's how it would be. Now, I'm going to add like mossy bits here, because I want some sort of at the bottom. Now I tried an idea and it didn't work, and I put some reindeer moss on and it completely spoiled it. So now I've got to try and change it slightly. So that's pretty much where we're at. I have got a background for this one, but I'm not going to show you because that's a little bit of a surprise. So the next time I will be doing a video, hopefully it will be once I've decided what I'm actually going to do with the moss, or I might just do it and then sort of say, you know, how I've done it and everything. But I hope you've kind of enjoyed this. It's something a bit different that I've not really done, but yeah, that's how we've got the front of the journal up to now. So I'm going to leave you to it. Thank you for all my lovely comments that you leave on my videos. It truly, truly means a lot. So thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart as usual. Yeah, I hope everybody's okay with this crazy weather that we're having at the minute. Yeah, it's a bit dull here today, but it's still really mugger. So yeah, I'm going. So I will leave you. Oh, I don't know if you can see the difference. That was a bit better, done it? White, a little bit of a white background so you can see it. I will leave you to it, and I will be back very soon. So take care. Bye.